Hello.
Welcome to the Tarot Dealers podcast. What
Yeah.
episode is this number?
This is number 24.
24. Can you believe
So-
we're doing 24? And it's actually officially our first visual. We did a little introduction,
We did.
but now here we are also visually on YouTube.
So if you want to catch up on the previous 23, you have to go on to Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcast and just have a listen.
Yeah, have a listen, let us know.
But yeah.
All right.
So we are going to, like we normally do, choose a card.
Okay,
We'll
what
choose a
deck
card,
are we using?
card, and then we'll go on to this theme of this one is body posture, body comparisons between
Body language.
body language. That's the word I'm trying to find.
I knew what you meant. Yeah.
Body language. But we're going to compare at least 4 different decks.
Yeah, something like that, I think.
So you can see how one person sitting some way has a completely different meaning to another card.
Yeah, it could just kind of give some of it's subtle, but some of it's really full on, and it really changes the feeling if you work intuitively. It really changes the feeling. So that's what we want to talk about today.
Okay, so, but we're going to choose a card, and we're using the Gilded Tarot.
Nice.
The Gilded Tarot this time for choosing the card because we pulled everything out before.
we didn't have a complete deck. Oh, now that's a whole other story. Do we actually have a complete deck, Tren?
Probably not.
Okay, probably not. All right.
So what do we need to know for this episode if we can stop laughing?
What is it about this episode that might be helpful?
Quite a lot, probably. Anyway.
Let's
just see what we need to know. What do we need to keep in our focus, probably more so. It's the 6 of Cups. Now, I will be showing this on YouTube, but there will be a photo on social media, so look out for it. But it's the Gilded Tarot, and it's 6 of Cups.
How apt is that, right?
That's just lovely.
When you think about it, it's all about choice, right? Like all of these things in front of us. It's not necessarily, but when that card flashed up, I'm like, oh, look at all these choices we have. So all these different comparisons,
exactly.
right?
You can't get that into focus. Well, near enough.
Let's see. So
there it goes.
There we go. So yeah,
that's a beautiful card.
It is, isn't it? Look at that pussycat right in the front.
Yeah,
there.
that's what I just noticed that, and I've never noticed that cat before.
There you go. So 6 of Cups, right in the Gilded Tarot. We have a cat, as we've said, right in the front there, and then there's these cups with 6 cups filled with different coloured flowers, and there's 2 children, and there's trees in the background. So there's a rabbit. Check the rabbit out. There's a little rabbit. There it is there. So what does all this mean, right? So the 6 of Cups traditionally is about nostalgia, right? And that's what this is saying to us. It's a very nostalgic card. So it speaks to the past. It speaks to the past quite fondly. And it speaks to, well, I still think this card's speaking to choice.
Yeah, I think so.
Myself.
With all the cups there, and it's like, well, which one are you going to choose?
Yeah.
But it is, and when it first came up, because of the colours, I'm thinking of chakras. The different colours of the chakras.
There you go. Here is a whole different interpretation, right?
So it's like, which colour are you attracted to? Which one hits you in the face? Which I think is, hang on, we need to work on that chakra.
Interesting. Now, the card itself traditionally is also can be about children. So if we look at it in regards to the body language and what today's episode is, and Tren has talked about the chakras, so it might be about understanding that there's different choices and different ways to work with your body.
Exactly.
Right? It's also representing the past. It's a card of the past. So it's like respecting the past. Of the tarot, and understanding that going forward, we have choice with how we want to work with it.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, that does.
That's kind of how I would put all of that together, and the children being the new.
The new,
right? The new ways, looking at it like that. Yeah, what a beautiful card.
And it's also, because the children, it's also have fun.
Absolutely, have fun, play.
And make a point of finding the fun in everything you do.
Absolutely. I love that. Yeah, absolutely.
Because we can just go through, plod along each day and doing the same thing like Groundhog Day. Yeah. But if we start looking for the fun and the enjoyment in things,
it's one way to work with your chakras, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah,
Yeah.
look for the fun, look for the enjoyment. We talk
Yeah.
about energy out, energy in, right? So if you're putting shit energy in, you're gonna get shit energy
exactly.
out, right? And vice versa. So good energy in, or happy, joyful energy, grateful energy. This is definitely what you need to be working for.
So that was a bit in depth for that card, wasn't it?
It was a bit in depth for that, since we're just gonna very quickly draw a card. Okay,
So we will move on to comparing the body language of different cards.
body language. So the first one up that we've chosen is the Four of Cups, so another cup card. And we're going to start with the traditional rider weight. Now remember, we're comparing body language, right? So here we see on the traditional rider weight, speak, my God, traditional rider weight, there is a fellow leaning up against a tree, sitting up against a tree. There's a cup that's being offered to him to the side of him that he's not looking at, and there's 3 cups in front of him, which is where his focus is, right? So his arms are folded, his legs are crossed, his face is not really suggesting anything to me here. He just seems to be in a bit of a world of his own, looking at those 3 cups that are in front of him and ignoring the one to the side.
He's very closed off.
He is,
very,
wow, yeah. And then we're going to move to the Art Nouveau. Oh my God, actually
you said
it right. Oh my God. So beautiful things for 2024. Okay, so the Art Nouveau, we still see a fellow under a tree, but we don't necessarily see the whole tree like we do
in the
Rider-Waite deck. Now, just curiously, this tree is a tree of life. It's also the tree trunk that the Hanged Man
comes from.
Interesting, with his foot, yeah. So here we see on this one, the Art Nouveau, we still see a fellow sitting under the tree, same coloured clothing, slightly different shade, but same coloured clothing, still have the cup coming to him and still looking down. But he's looking down. He's not even looking at the cups that are in front of him.
But he seems more relaxed. He's not as closed off.
He does seem a bit more relaxed. I'm wondering if he's actually asleep.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So is he asleep, or is he like completely so down and out on himself, right? And this is where you get to have choice about how you're feeling about that particular card. So the tree is...
Hang on.
Hang on. We're right?
We're good now.
We're good now? Okay, technical issues. We're allowed to be human, right? So, yeah, this is what's happening here. He is still sitting under the tree, still supported by the trunk, but his body language is very different. So just to compare, to show them together, and we will take a photo of these to put them up on socials, right? And then we move into completely different. We're looking at the Light Seers Tarot. And here we see a woman, the tree's in the background. So this is kind of telling me this tree here is kind of got some importance, right? So you'd be thinking about what the tree is. But when we look at the body language,
it's very different, isn't it?
Isn't it?
It's very different.
Isn't it? It's almost like she's reaching out and touching that one cup, yet looking in a different direction.
It's almost like she almost doesn't, she knows with her hand touching it, it's like she knows that's what she wants, but she can't let go of what she's coming from.
Yeah, it's a very different
her body language, it's very...
She's more forward, this one. Like she's more forward. She's not leaning on or depending upon or relying on that support of that tree. So she's more open, I feel.
The way her body language is, it almost feels like she's ready to get up. She's ready to almost stand up.
Yeah, she still feels a little bit closed off.
She does.
Because she's got like
she's crossing over her chest.
She's crossing it like her limbs. Her limbs are like, one's in front of her, one's down the lower part of her body. Her knees are kind of almost together, but the arm sits in between there. So there is still this closing off. However, she's physically closer to that 4th cup that's on offer. Does that make sense? Yeah, very interesting. And you'll see this rainbow filter here
Filter,
streaming
yeah.
down, which you'll see as we put up on our
Yeah.
socials. So yeah, the language very different again. And then we thought we'd try an even different,
Very different
card, which is from the Good Tarot. And this is, they call it water, so the Four of Water. So you'll see here.
And it's very much like a mermaid. And I think because they're calling it water, I think we're looking at the bubbles as representing in normal the cups, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely we are. And there's 4 of them. I don't know if you can see them. Obviously there's 4 because we talk about 4, but for those watching on YouTube, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. And on our socials, we will point out where those 4 bubbles are. And I find it interesting on this card because they're kind of spread out more.
They are, aren't they?
The choices or the options that they're looking at are spread out more. And one is, to me, perceived to be bigger and right in front of her. So it's on this one, like on the light seers, they're closer to that 4th cup that's in option compared to the other 2 where they're not looking or considering that 4th option.
And in the Good Tarot, her body language is straight up and down. Being that mermaid, she's straight up and down, isn't she?
You know what I love? I love how Tren brings me back on track. We're talking about the body language, Lou. Yeah. Well done. So yeah, the body language where she is straight up and down. So Tren has a very, very good point there. This one is more open to what she has right in front of her. And she's more aligned. Is how I would look at that, more aligned, So that's the first one that we've been looking at. I hope you little buggers are taking notes. Okay, now this.
And we're going to go on to probably another cup, aren't we?
Oh my God, we are. What was with that bloody
we should have shuffled.
We should have thought about it a bit more, but I was just pulling out what I thought would be good to talk about. So yeah. Your turn next time. Right? So here we're going to talk about the 3 of Cups. I'm going to start with the traditional Rider-Waite, which is where they're having a party and they're celebrating, right?
They're dancing, aren't they?
Raising their cups and they're completely in celebration.
Exactly.
Notice that they are kind of straight down, right? So aligned.
Yeah, aligned.
Aligned. Could be a bit stiff, even though they're having a party, they could be a bit stiff.
But they're connected.
They are connected. They are connected, and you'll see why I find them stiff in a minute, right? So it is a party of celebration, but when we look at the Art Nouveau and we compare that, the body language,
it's very different.
Very different. They are more open. They are more swaying. They are more in flow. I love that word. More in flow. More celebratory is what I would say about that. As we posted up for those who aren't watching.
We're listening. And then we're going to go to the light seers, and it's very different because they're joined, but they're facing away, but they're not actually really dancing, are they?
No, to me, I find that one much more about connection and support, because it's all about teamwork, support, celebration, right? But that to me is more about the connection, the sisterhood, I feel, in that, like, we'll stand together, we've got this together.
Exactly, yeah. We've got each other's backs, basically, really, quite literally.
Because we see the back of them.
And they've all got their arms around each other.
Yeah.
They're all connected.
Absolutely, yeah.
And then we go to the Good Tarot, and again it's quite hard to see because it's in water and it's a mermaidy thing. But again, almost straight up and down, her tail is sort of curved, so it's dancing, isn't it? So again, it's very different to compare.
Like little pearls.
I was going to say, but they are little pearls that she's got, but she probably is dancing in the water. But again, when we compare it to that, they're very different, aren't they?
They are. What I find about the Good Tarot is these are evenly spaced, evenly spaced. So I'm feeling like there's this even connection. There's no favoritism, right? No favoritism. No. So isn't that interesting?
That's interesting.
The body language of that.
Very interesting. I like those.
Okay. All right.
Now we're moving on. We're leaving the cups behind.
Well, are we really? Because we're looking at temperance.
Of course we're not leaving the cups behind.
Notice cups, right? And I want to talk about the how like the body language is straight up and down. Yes. So we know that it's very open to receiving, open to what's going on. The distance between those cups, like how the hands are placed, it's a fairly wide gap, you could say, how they're moving from one to the other, the foot, one in the water, one on the water, right? Things definitely pay attention to. As we look at the Art Nouveau, see how those cups are closed together. And the foot's still in the water, one on the water, but they too are closed together. So I'm feeling that this one is a little bit more, it has a feeling of quietness for me compared to like that one feels like quite open and could be quite loud or could be quite broad.
Yes.
Or I'm trying to find the words that I'm feeling. Whereas this one here feels like it's more contained. That's
more contained.
Good on you, Tren. Yeah, more contained.
Both of them. Like this one, like we were saying, it's quite open. The body language
the Rider-Waite is more.
The Rider-Waite is more open, but this one is more contained.
Yeah, the Art Nouveau, a little bit more contained. So we will put the pictures up for those of you who are listening as we
and then we go on to the light seers, which is completely different,
isn't it?
It's completely different. It's very balanced.
Yes, that's a word.
Even him in his body language, and because in this case it's a fellow, like definitely a fellow. But he's very balanced.
In how he's moving that energy,
But also he's got a relaxed feel about him. Whereas these are very traditional, I suppose.
Yeah, a lot more traditional. Yeah. You'll notice the wings, right?
Yes.
There's still
the wings on either on all three. And if we go on to the good tarot, it's completely different again.
Isn't it?
It's more feminine. It's very
feminine. More feminine, isn't it?
Even you've really got a balance here, masculine and feminine. And I don't think she's got wings on here.
Let me have a look.
We're looking at the good tarot. We can't see. I don't think she's leaning up against a pillar, isn't she? So
she is. She's got that pillar, and she's talking about for this card, it represents the patience, right? Yeah. And these Temperance very much is about that, right? It's about very about the patient. So yeah.
So and again, we're talking about body language, but also just watch in different decks. They will change the names of the different cards.
Yes, they can.
So you sort of got to think.
You do. And if you're stuck on that, the traditional numbers is what you'll look for. So you'll go by the number, right? In the more modern deck, you might find they add or shift them around a bit, and that's okay, but you'll work it out by the symbology on it, right?
But yes, I do like the light seers for that body language. He's very relaxed. He's very balanced.
Yeah, I'm just looking here at her, and she's got a clock which sits on her chest, on her breast there, and I'm wondering if like time is of the essence, but we're needing to be patient.
We can't rush time, can we?
No, and it's like really, it's an illusion. Like it's just this 3D thing, right? Where so that we can understand what we're doing in time. But so very much, very different. That's incredible, isn't it? Just how, and these are only a few packs. Imagine if we had more, right?
Yeah, very much.
So yeah, are you open? Are you closed down?
Yeah.
All right. Now, this is a card that
many people don't like.
Many people don't like. We happen to love it.
It might freak some people out. I love this card. I love this card. It's death. I love this card.
So we look at the Rider-Waite firstly. Here we have a skeleton sitting on a horse. He's upright. He's coming in. We're looking at the people around. Laying on the ground there. The Pope here pleading for his life. Or pleading his case or whatever the fuck he's doing, And there's a young girl here who's turned away. So like turned away from faith, if you will, right? Yeah. What she's done there. So they're the main things I want to show there. When we look at Jess in the Art Nouveau, down in the bottom corner.
Oh, there's like a mother and child.
There's a mother and child. Now on the Rider-Waite, that's these two here.
Oh, and they're
that-
not connected,
and
are
they're
they?
not connected on the Rider-Waite, but in the Art Nouveau, they certainly are. We see a
Yeah.
mother holding
Protecting.
and protecting, and that priest, that still priest or whatever,
Yeah.
he's trying to stop death coming through. Very different body language in that.
Mm.
See that?
And even the horse.
Horse is
on
different.
Yeah, and the death is, I wouldn't say leaning forward, but he's more intense.
He feels stronger to me,
Yeah.
like when we look at his
Yeah.
armor there on the Art Nouveau compared to
The
the
Rider-Waite.
Rider-Waite. On the Rider-Waite, to me, the body language of the whole card is death marching through quietly, just saying, I'm
Yeah.
here, I've come in to clean up, pick up,
Yeah.
change some things. Whereas on the Art Nouveau, I feel like things are very much still in the throes of happening. So the energy is more about, you know, maybe a little bit more fear,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah.
Is how I see the body language of those two.
Yeah. And in the Lightseers deck, it's completely different again.
Yeah, it's like that new vision, isn't it?
is.
Like this part here, like when we look at the Lightseers Tarot, you'll see the red, and then where his face is, it's like a different view.
Yeah, it's almost like something that has been hidden has now been shown.
Yeah, it's like they can now see that, right? They
yeah.
can now see that, and it's from within. Notice that on this card,
Yeah.
it's from within. So it's this within that we're starting to rebirth out, if that makes sense, because obviously death can be rebirth, right? As it
exactly states, death and rebirth.
Death and
So
rebirth.
it gives you a hint on the card. And on the Good Tarot, it's called transformation. And it's again, it's more compared to the others. This is a very soft card.
Yeah,
It's very soft, and it's very much. Although looking at it, and I've not noticed this before. It's got almost like the two colors, the black and the white. I know it's not black and white, but it's those tones.
yeah, it's almost like the light or
Light.
the fire, because it's a glow.
Yeah.
It's a glow on her
Yeah.
skin compared to what's really, really dull.
Yes.
So it's like, you know, the lackluster versus the brightness of life. So how are you going to look at that transformation? And what is she holding in her hand?
She's actually
What's she got?
I'm trying to. I thought it was a bird, but it's not. It just sort of feels like it's like sparks.
Little light fairy type thing. So to me, I see this as a young girl or young person who is playing with the fairies, if you will, and watching them come to life. Right? So the wonder and the awe of life is, I feel like, what that is.
Yeah, I think that the Lightseers, I think, is my favorite out of those.
Oh, you like that
I
one?
like that one.
Yeah. Why do you like that your favorite?
I don't know. I think I just like in a way, if we compare it to the other three, not so much the Good Tarot, but the three, there's no fear in this one. Whereas this might be a little bit of fear in these ones because of the tradition of the skeleton meaning death. But in the Lightseers, there's no fear.
I like that. Yeah, from a body language comparison. Yeah, and the energy that we feel from the cards. Yeah, I like that. No fear. Absolutely. Okay, we're going to look at a court card here to look at the actual body language. Okay. And we'll start with the Rider-Waite to keep it in that order. So the Knight of Wands, right? He sits on that throne. Oh, God damn, it's the King of Wands. Thank you. Where would I be without Tren? Fuck, just what I'd say. So anyway, here we go. The King of Wands. So he's sitting really straight upright, isn't he?
Straight upright.
His arms are sitting open, right? One either side. So, and he's looking out, like he's not looking towards us, he's looking away. Nonetheless, he's looking over his domain, right? So
surveying his domain.
Surveying, I like that word, surveying. Then we have the Art Nouveau King. Look at this cat.
Oh, I'll show you, because he is very different to this one. He's facing front on. Quite literally, his legs are open, so he's open.
Yeah.
Whereas we can't really see. This might give the impression, the Rider-Waite, that his legs are open, but he's turned sideways.
Turned sideways, yeah. This cat's like face on, and look at him leaning back in that chair,
Yeah.
like he owns that. That's his. He's rocking
Yeah.
that world. He's like, what the fuck do you want? You know, like that's his. Well, yes, you know. So that's what he's saying, and he's looking down a little bit, I feel. So this guy definitely on the Art Nouveau was exerting his authority. I feel a little
more than the
than the Rider-Waite.
Yeah.
So what have you
with
got there?
the
Trev?
Lightseer's deck, again, very front on, standing straight up and down. So again, if we're going with that, he's very aligned with what he's achieved. And because there's a line in the background, it's very much, he knows his strength. And I'm not talking about physical strength. I'm thinking about internal strength.
Internal strength, yeah. And the lion, right? You think about the lion, he's like the king of the animal domain, right? So this dude definitely.
And even like his facial expression is basically, don't mess with me. Don't mess with me.
He knows what he's talking about. He's really strong, grounded, earthy man, even though he's a wand.
So
right? And the wand is the fire and the passion.
Exactly. So even I do think looking at him, he's quite open too. Like his arms are just quite relaxed.
Relaxed, isn't he? Yeah.
And then we're going to the good tarot, which is softer. It's I'd say like an Asian monk looking.
He is. He gives me the impression. The first thing that I felt was that he's showing his wisdom with his age.
Very much.
Right.
It's so he reminds me of some movie, and I don't know what it is, but it's like, you know, that the old Chinese seer. You know, like he, you know, the people.
You know where I went with that?
I was going to say it's not Kung Fu Pan, but
wax on, wax off. That dude. What was his name?
Mr. Miyagi.
Mr. Miyagi. Yeah, Mr. Miyagi. That's what this guy reminds me of. So different feel.
Different feel, very different feel. But I know he's the king of fire. In this is the king of fire, so king of wands. But he actually has his heart open.
That I love.
It's very
absolutely love that. So
very much very wise.
Yeah.
Very wise. He knows what he's talking about. He's pulling from experience.
He is pulling from experience.
But his heart is open.
Yeah, his heart is open, and he's showing that. So the body language perspective on there is, I feel this card out of all of them is just more open.
More open. More out of all of them. If we even compare all of them, you know, he's the good tarot is the most open, isn't it?
Yeah, when you compare them like that, that's how I feel anyway, looking at that. Yeah,
they're lovely.
They are, aren't they? Do you think we've got time for?
We've got a couple. One more.
Okay, let's look.
We haven't done a queen before, so we'll do a queen.
Let's do a queen. Oh, we might do them both. Okay, so queen. We start with the Rider-Waite.
Queen of Cups.
Queen of bloody cups.
Okay, back to the cups.
Back to the cups. So the Queen of Cups. So her throne here faces the water. Her foot
is in the water.
Is in the water, talking about her embodying that emotion, right? And her cup is really, really elaborate, and she seems quite taken with it herself.
Her focus is on the cup.
Her focus is on the cup, yes.
But again, she's sitting quite comfortably, isn't she? She's not stressed. She's not so much open either, too, is she? She's quite.
She seems a bit intense looking at that cup, I reckon.
Yeah. So she is a little bit closed off. There's her, even though the cup is sort of in front of her chest, it is covering her chest.
Yeah. But having said that, is that in line with her heart?
I suppose it could be.
Yeah. See, you got to watch where they put this stuff, right? So then we go to the Art Nouveau.
Oh, so she's a bit more relaxed. She's still got that intense focus on the cup, but her body language, if you compare both of them, it's a little bit not so stressed, I would say.
Yeah, no, and it's almost like in the Art Nouveau, like she's looking towards the person who's looking at the card, and it's almost like, come see what I've got.
Exactly.
You know.
Yes. Whereas in the Rider-Waite, she's completely focused on that card.
Yeah.
Completely focused.
Completely. Whereas this one's more like, yep, this is mine, but you come see what I got. You know. So she feels to me, from a body language perspective, I agree with you. She is more relaxed here. definitely more relaxed, and even holds that cup like in a more nonchalant way, if you will. Like we look at the Rider-Waite,
it's
and
very
she's supporting it from the bottom, isn't she?
in the Rider-Waite. It seems to be more reverent. It's more.
Is that the word I'm looking for? More
like,
reverent. Okay, yeah.
She doesn't want to cover it. It's like, no,
Just
look at
holding it there.
holding
right?
it. Whereas in this one, it's been, look what I've got. I'm caressing my cup.
Yeah, she is, right? So very much so, and like has her arm around it at the bottom, and then it's holding it or caressing it at the top.
Yeah.
So interesting.
Oh, and the Queen of Cups and the Light Seers is not even holding her cup. And talking about body language, she is completely open and very much, quite literally, grateful for what she's received with her arms up.
Isn't she? Like totally surrendering to what she's
Yeah.
feeling in the moment and
Yeah.
trusting the emotion, right? Trusting the emotion will support the cup.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So-
And it's transparent, right? Because the water's transparent.
Yeah. But she is very much in the moment with those arms up beside her, head thrown back as if to say, look, just give it
all
give
to
it
me.
all to
Yeah.
me.
And she's not afraid to immerse herself in the emotion.
emotion.
See how her body moves right the way through that.
it.
Yeah.
Yes, it's a lovely
so
card.
very much like that.
And with the good tarot, it's just, well, we're not seeing much of her body. It's just her face, isn't it? And it's just that expression on her face. It's just, she's completely gone within. She's completely gone within, completely almost embracing those emotions, isn't she?
Yeah.
Just like, don't come at me, I'm meditating.
Fuck off, I'm meditating. Yeah.
But yeah, it's like I said, we will put it up, but it's all in the good tarot, all you can see is her face, and it's just such a calm expression on her face.
Yeah.
Completely calm, completely really. I know she's Queen of Water, but she could actually be in the water, couldn't she? She's just completely immersed in the water.
She could be, right. She absolutely could be. And we only have the head, but it's interesting how the different decks move.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, one more.
One more. We'll just fit in one more because we know you're loving this.
All right.
It's the Knight of Pentacles. So this is the Rider-Waite.
So the Rider-Waite one, he sits on this horse straight up and down. The horse is not moving. He is not moving. This horse. He's very still. So it's like a stillness or a stuckness, or this dude just saying, here, this is what I've got, and that's it. Right? That's, to me, how that card feels. Right? When we look at the Art Nouveau, the horse is moving.
He's in motion. If we compare both of them, you can really see the stillness on the Rider-Waite and the movement in the Art Nouveau. Yeah,
and he's looking at that pentacle in the Art Nouveau whilst in movement. He's kind of looking over
in the Rider-Waite. He's looking over it, whereas in the Art, he's completely focused on it. And I'm just looking at his body language. I mean, they're both quite up and down, quite stiff, but he seems to be more tense. And of course, you're riding a horse. Of course, you've got to tense up with the movement, but he seems to be more tense. But again, that tenseness could be because he's focused on that pentacle.
Yes, I can see what you're saying there. Okay. So we have the
Light Seers.
I'm like, what the fuck am I looking at? Light Seers deck. Okay. I got lost for a minute. Very different. So this dude is open, but notice that there's movement again, right? Yeah. So he's walking and his horse is in movement behind him. But the body language on this one, I feel, is a bit more open.
Yeah, very much, and calmer.
Much calmer. Much calmer. So the feeling on this one is like there's movement. There's definitely movement. That's my feeling. Also,
and looking, and I know we're going to read the card, but it's looking at, he's not got the reins in his hand either with that horse. So that horse,
that's true,
completely following him on its own volition. I'm just following whoever. And again, it's like with that particular card, so whatever direction you're going, you've got support.
Absolutely, yeah. And he's just really, he's just looking around a bit more, this one. He's not so much focused on the pentacle itself. He's looking around to his surroundings. What's coming for him? What's he open to?
Yeah. And with the good tarot, I think we're talking about movement. She definitely is moving, but it feels like she's almost like she's got a slight sway.
Bit of a
Bit
swagger.
of a swagger. Well, it is. It's a bit of like, hey, I'm cool. I'm off.
Give me a look at
I'm
that.
hip.
Okay. Yeah, she definitely is more. Yeah, very open though, again,
Very,
body language,
very,
very, very open. You'll see we see her there completely open. And for those of you who are listening, it's a woman who has her arms actually
out.
out to the
Holding,
side.
I think one of holding her skirt or holding something, a staff or something. But I think to me, it's almost like she's got her skirt pulled up against that staff. So it's like, again, very open.
And her focus is forward.
Very, yeah.
Right, her focus is more forward. So interesting.
Very interesting.
There you go.
So I hope you enjoyed that comparison of the body language and how you can get much more out of the cards just looking at body language.
Just, yeah, without worrying about the actual like meanings of the
Yeah,
cards, the
yeah.
traditional meanings, but
Yeah.
just looking at that body language and how does that make you feel, what is happening for you in that moment as you look at
the body language itself.
Yeah.
If you break everything else down and just focus on the body language, you will get quite a bit more, go quite in depth, really. Then you can pull back and go, well, what does it actually mean?
What does it actually mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot.
So-
Okay, well, we hope you've enjoyed that episode, and we will be back for more episodes, of course.
We will be next week.
We will next week. Bye.
See you later.